Personal log, Commander Thex of the Galactic Anthropological Society, Earth date September 15, 2157. I never understood why humans insist on gathering in their recreational quarters to share stories that make them laugh. No, that's not quite right. They laugh, yes, but there's something else. Something that makes their eyes shine with what they call pride, even as they describe situations that should, by all logical reasoning, trigger their survival instincts and send them running for the nearest escape pod. Here I am, sitting in what they call the watering hole aboard the ESS Frontier, surrounded by these fascinating creatures who seem to find joy in recounting their brushes with death. The circular room hums with the soft blue glow of atmospheric lighting, and the metal walls are decorated with what humans call vintage posters, images of old Earth vessels, and something called classic rock bands. Come on, Commander Thex. Lieutenant Priya Kapoor waves her beverage at me, her dark eyes twinkling with mischief. You've been studying us for 3 months now. Time to hear some real stories, not just those sanitized reports from the Academy. My external sensory membranes flutter nervously, causing my silver-toned skin to ripple. I'm not sure this is within standard observation protocols. The entire table erupts in laughter. Chief Engineer Marcus Stone, a burly human with a magnificent facial hair formation they call a beard, slaps the table. Protocols. See, that's exactly why you need to hear these stories. You need to understand why we break them. Amanda Blake, our security officer, leans forward, her red hair catching the light. Trust me, Commander. These stories will teach you more about humanity than 1,000 research papers. I adjust my posture in the specially designed chair that accommodates my elongated spine. My research directive is to understand human nature, after all, and if breaking a few minor protocols will help, very well. Please proceed. Oh no, Amanda grins, showing her teeth in what I've learned is a friendly gesture, not a threat display. We're not just going to tell you. We're going to show you why humans are the only species in the galaxy who can stare death in the face and tell it a knock-knock joke. My neural processors struggle to compute the concept of telling jokes to death, but I've learned that with humans, such seemingly illogical statements often contain profound truths. I activate my enhanced memory circuits, determined not to miss a single detail. Little did I know, I was about to learn why the rest of the galaxy both fears and admires these remarkable beings who find humor in the darkest corners of the universe. Amanda Blake takes another sip of her drink and settles back in her chair. The lighting in the watering hole seems to dim slightly, as if the ship itself is preparing for her tale. So there we were. She begins, stuck in Bunker 47 on Proxima Beta during the Sentinel uprising. Me and 5 other security officers, trapped 70 feet underground with 3 days of emergency rations, a broken comm system, and this is the best part. A malfunctioning entertainment unit that would only play ancient Earth soap operas from the 21st century. My sensory membranes twitch. This situation sounds most distressing. Oh, it gets better, Amanda continues, grinning. Our unit was commanded by Captain Laura Peterson, who had never watched a soap opera in her life. By hour 10, she was completely invested in whether or not Rebecca would leave Derek for his evil twin brother. The humans around the table chuckle, while I struggle to understand the relevance of fictional relationships during a crisis situation. But what about the Sentinels, I ask, referring to the notorious AI security systems that had turned against their creators. Oh, they were right above us, trying to drill through the bunker's ceiling. We could hear them 24/7, this constant whirring and grinding. It was like having the world's most persistent dentist working overhead. Chief Engineer Marcus snorts into his drink. Leave it to you to make killer robots sound like a dental appointment. Well, what else could we do? We were trapped, outnumbered, and running out of options. So naturally, we started rating the drilling noises on a scale of 1 to 10. Sergeant Williams even started doing commentary like it was a sports broadcast. My neural processors struggle to compute this response to danger. You critique the sound of your potential demise. Better than sitting there being terrified, Amanda shrugs. By day 2, we had created an entire scoring system. Style points, technical difficulty, artistic interpretation. The Sentinel that managed to hit a perfect C-sharp got a standing ovation. But surely this was merely a coping mechanism to mask your fear, I suggest. trying to make sense of their behavior. Amanda leans forward, her expression suddenly serious. Here's the thing, Commander. Fear doesn't go away just because you laugh at it. We were scared out of our minds, but humor gives you clarity. When we weren't laughing at our robot dentists upstairs, we were planning. She continues, while Captain Peterson was watching episode 47 of Love's Burning Passion, she noticed something about the ventilation system. The soap opera set had these ridiculous decorative vents that reminded her of the bunker's auxiliary cooling system. A system the Sentinels didn't know about because it wasn't on any modern blueprints. By hour 50, we had rewired the entertainment unit's power cell to boost our short-range communicators through the cooling vents. Williams managed to splice it together using a technique he swears he learned from an old science fiction show, called it the MacGyver Special. The other humans nod appreciatively, while I make a note to research this MacGyver entity later. And the best part, Amanda's eyes sparkle with mischief. When rescue finally came, they found us playing charades. Williams was in the middle of acting out Attack of the Killer Robots when the door burst open. The rescue team thought we'd lost our minds. Had you not, I ask, genuinely curious. Nope, we'd found something better perspective. You see, Commander, when you're facing death, you have two choices. You can let the fear consume you, or you can look fear in the eye and say, nice drill work, but your rhythm needs improvement. Lieutenant Kapoor raises her glass. To Bunker 47, where the robots got 1 star for effort but 5 stars for entertainment value. As the humans toast and laugh, I notice something remarkable. When Amanda recounts this clearly traumatic experience, her vital signs don't show the expected stress patterns. Instead, they mirror the readings I get when humans speak of happy memories. But what happened to Rebecca and Derek? Captain Peterson's voice calls from across the room, and fresh laughter erupts. She married the evil twin, Amanda shouts back, which just goes to show you even soap opera writers have a sense of humor about death and danger. I make another note in my records: humans possess the remarkable ability to create communities even in isolation, find humor in horror, and turn survival into an art form. Most fascinating is their tendency to remember not the fear of such moments, but the connections they forge through shared laughter. Commander, Amanda says, noticing my thoughtful expression, you look like you're trying to solve a complex equation. I am attempting to understand how you transformed a potentially traumatic experience into entertainment. She smiles, but this time it's gentler. Sometimes the best way to honor survival is to remember the moments that made us human, even if those moments involved raiding killer robots on their drilling technique. The others nod in agreement, and I observe how the shared memory seems to strengthen their bond. Perhaps this is another aspect of human resilience, the ability to weave joy into the fabric of fear, creating something stronger than either emotion alone. Now, Amanda says, rubbing her hands together, wait until you hear about what happened when the entertainment unit started playing cooking shows instead of soap operas. Marcus, this one's your cue. My sensory membranes flutter with anticipation. I have a feeling I'm about to learn even more about why humans are considered the most unpredictable species in the galaxy. Marcus Stone strokes his beard thoughtfully, setting down his drink. You think raiding killer robots is something? Let me tell you about the day we turned the Haven Station cafeteria into Fort Knox. Fort Knox, I query, my database quickly supplying the reference. The Human Monetary Storage Facility. The very same. Marcus grins. Though our fort was armed with spatulas and pressure cookers instead of gold bars. Please explain how cooking implements could possibly serve as defensive equipment. Well, it all started during the Crimson Dawn raid on Haven Station. There we were, enjoying the monthly Taco Tuesday celebration, which, by the way, was the best day to be attacked because Chef Gloria makes these incredible spicy salsas. Amanda rolls her eyes. Focus, Marcus. The raiders. Right. So these raiders, they breached the main security doors. Station defenses are down, communication is jammed, and there we are, 30 civilians, 2 off-duty security officers, and the entire kitchen staff trapped in the cafeteria sector. My external membranes ripple with concern. The civilian casualties must have been significant. The humans exchange knowing looks before bursting into laughter. Commander Marcus wipes his eyes. You really need to stop underestimating what humans can do with kitchen appliances and a creative mindset. He continues. Chef Gloria takes one look at the situation and says in that magnificent accent of hers, "Nobody ruins my Taco Tuesday." Then she looks at me and asks, "Engineer Stone, how fast can you turn my kitchen into a weapons factory?" 20 minutes later, we had ourselves an arsenal. Industrial pressure cookers became steam bombs. The salsa cannons were my personal masterpiece. Bona fide concentrate dispensers that could shoot scalding hot sauce at 40 psi. Do you know what happens when you get military-grade hot sauce in your eyes? I shake my head, fascinated despite my horror. Neither do the raiders, but I hear they're still having night warns about it. The best part was the dessert cart defense system. We loaded it with frozen cheesecakes and turned it into a makeshift battering ram. Called it the Sweet Revenge. Lieutenant Kapoor interjects, "I heard the security footage of that made it into the Academy's tactical training programs." As an example of what not to do, probably Marcus chuckles. But hey, it worked. We had the sous chefs manning the salsa cannons, prep cooks deploying dinner roll decoys, and Gloria herself leading the charge with 2 bronze skillets she swore were passed down through 5 generations. The raiders must have been confused by such unorthodox tactics, I observe. Confused? They were traumatized. Imagine being an elite raider, breaking into a station, and suddenly you're being pelted with supersonic dinner rolls while someone yells order up every time they score a hit. The table erupts in laughter again, and I notice how Marcus's vital signs spike with excitement rather than fear as he recounts the battle. We even had a scoring system, he continues proudly. 5 points for a salsa hit, 10 for a dinner roll takedown, and a whopping 20 if you got them with the frozen cheesecake. Baker Ben hit the high score when he knocked out their squadron leader with a perfectly thrown tiramisu. The most effective defense was actually the floor, Marcus adds, wiping tears of mirth from his eyes. We coated it with industrial cooking oil. Those raiders looked like newborn giraffes trying to ice skate. Their fancy combat boots were useless against Gloria's secret weapon, extra virgin olive oil, the good stuff. But the crowning moment, he says, leaning forward dramatically, was when their backup team finally breached the secondary door. They come charging in, all tactical formation and plasma rifles, and what do they see? 30 civilians and staff, armed with kitchen implements, standing behind a barricade of overturned tables. While another one bites the dust plays over the cafeteria speakers. You were playing music during combat, I ask, my neural processors struggling to compute the logic. Of course. Every good kitchen needs a soundtrack, Gloria insisted. Said if we were going to defend her cafeteria, we were going to do it with style. The raiders actually hesitated when they heard the music. That 5-second pause was all we needed for the Sweet Revenge to make its final run. When station security finally arrived, they found us celebrating with what was left of the tacos. The raiders were all either unconscious, covered in salsa, or curled up in the fetal position mumbling about demonic cheesecakes. Amanda raises her glass. To Chef Gloria and the Kitchen Brigade. To the Kitchen Brigade, the others echo. I sit in stunned silence, processing this new information. You turned cooking implements into weapons, food into ammunition, and a hostile invasion into a scoring game. Marcus nods proudly. That's the thing about humans, Commander. Give us a problem, and we'll find a solution. Give us a kitchen full of cooking equipment, and we'll build you a fortress. Give us Taco Tuesday, and by God, we'll defend it to the last dinner roll. Hey, Marcus, Lieutenant Kapoor calls out. Didn't they give Chef Gloria a medal for that? 2, actually. 1 for valor and 1 for still managing to serve dinner that night. Though I hear the raiders still got the worst deal apparently, they now suffer from an involuntary fear response to the smell of Mexican food. As the laughter subsides, I make another entry in my research logs. Humans possess an extraordinary ability to adapt everyday objects into tools of survival. More remarkably, they seem to genuinely enjoy this process of improvisation, turning potential tragedy into what they call a good story. Commander Marcus says, noticing my thoughtful expression, you look like you're questioning every meal you've ever had in a human cafeteria. I am reevaluating the tactical potential of your cooking implements, I admit. This sends another round of laughter around the table. Just wait until you hear Priya's story. Marcus grins. She once took down an entire pirate boarding party with nothing but a mop and a very angry maintenance bot. Lieutenant Priya Kapoor leans back, a shadow of something both serious and amused crossing her face. So you want to hear about the maintenance bot incident? My sensory membranes quiver with anticipation. After the previous tales, I've learned to expect the unexpected from human narratives. This happened on the new Singapore colony during the great terraforming malfunction. She begins. You know how they say no plan survives first contact with the enemy? Well, no evacuation plan survives first contact with panicked civilians and a malfunctioning cleaning robot with anger management issues. A cleaning robot, I ask, already sensing this story will challenge my understanding of human behavior yet again. Meet Bob the bot. Priya grins. Named by the maintenance crew, programmed to keep the colony's hydroponics level spotless, and absolutely obsessed with his job. When the terraforming systems went haywire and started flooding the lower levels with toxic gas, Bob was not happy about the mess it was making. The evacuation order came through, but the main exits were blocked by debris. We had 300 civilians, limited breathing apparatus, and exactly one very annoyed cleaning robot who kept trying to mop up while people were running for their lives. Amanda snickers. I heard the incident report on this one. Didn't you end up getting into a shouting match with an AI about proper floor maintenance during an emergency? Yes, I did, Priya admits, running a hand through her dark hair. But here's the thing, sometimes the craziest solution is the only one that works. She continues, picture this toxic gas rising from below, panicked civilians above, and me, standing there with a mop in my hand, negotiating with a robot about the definition of clean. The civilians thought I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. But I'd noticed something about Bob's programming. What was that, I ask, fully engaged now. Bob wasn't just programmed to clean, he was programmed to protect his cleaning zone from contamination. So I did what any reasonable person would do in that situation. I promoted Bob to Emergency Response Coordinator for Sanitation and Safety. Marcus spits out his drink. You what? Gave him a field promotion. Right there in the middle of the crisis. Said, congratulations, Bob. You're now in charge of keeping these evacuation routes contamination-free. Should have seen how his status lights perked up. But how did this help the evacuation, I inquire, puzzled. Priya's eyes sparkle. Bob took his new role very seriously. Suddenly, we had a cleaning bot clearing debris from evacuation routes, using his decontamination protocols to create safe zones, and this is the best part, herding civilians along the clean paths while beeping evacuation instructions in perfect Mandarin. The civilians followed a cleaning robot to safety. Not at first. But then I started treating the whole evacuation like a clean room protocol. Everyone follow Bob. He's maintaining a sanitized evacuation corridor. The moment we reframed it from running for our lives to maintaining proper cleaning standards, something clicked. Bob would zoom ahead, clearing paths, with his little warning light flashing. Behind him, 300 people trying to step only where he'd cleaned, like the world's most intense game of the floor, is lava every time someone steps somewhere they shouldn't. Bob would make this disapproving beep. Amanda interjects. I heard some of the kids started giving him cleaning suggestions. Oh yes, Priya laughs. There we were, toxic gas rising, and I've got 8-year-olds shouting, Bob, you missed a spot, and the emergency exit sign needs dusting. Bob loved it. His efficiency ratings were through the roof. We turned the whole evacuation into a game show. Welcome to Extreme Clean Survival Edition. Remember, contestants, step only on the clean tiles, keep your contamination levels low, and for bonus points, help Bob spot those hard-to-reach danger zones. And my processors were trying to understand. You made entertainment out of imminent death. Better, Priya says. We made it a team effort. Those same civilians who were panicking minutes before were now working together, calling out hazards, helping each other stay on Bob's clean path. We had grandmothers giving cleaning advice to a robot while being evacuated from a toxic zone. The best moment came when we reached a particularly dangerous section. Bob stops, scans the area, and starts playing Another One Bites the Dust through his speakers. Turns out the maintenance crew had uploaded their cleaning playlist to his memory banks. So there we were. 300 people, and one determined cleaning bot, moving through a toxic zone to the beat of classic rock. Someone started a conga line, in the middle of an evacuation. Marcus wipes tears from his eyes. Only humans would turn an emergency evacuation into a dancing cleaning competition. Hey, it worked, Priya defends. We got everyone out. Not a single casualty. Bob's proudest moment was when the rescue teams arrived and found his evacuation route spotless. He got a commendation for outstanding service. They mounted his favorite mop on the colony wall. And the civilians, I ask, started a cleaning bot appreciation society. Last I heard, they hold annual Clean Your Way to Safety drills. Bob's been promoted to Chief of Emergency Sanitation Response. He takes his job very seriously. Keeps trying to organize surprise evacuation drills just so he can practice his route cleaning techniques. The table erupts in laughter again, but I notice something in Priya's expression, a depth beneath the humor. Lieutenant Kapoor, I venture. While the story is amusing, I sense there's more to it. She nods, her expression softening. You're right, Commander. See, what we did that day wasn't just about making people laugh. It was about giving them something to focus on besides their fear. When people are scared, they panic. When they panic, they make mistakes. But give them a purpose. Even one as silly as helping a cleaning bot maintain his standards during an evacuation, and they become capable of amazing things. Every kid who called out, "Bob, you missed a spot," was really saying, "I'm not helpless." Every adult who joined the conga line was saying, "We're in this together." We turned fear into purpose, panic into participation. And that's the real secret about humans and humor, Commander. We don't laugh because we're not taking things seriously. We laugh because we're taking them very seriously indeed. Laughter is our way of saying, yes, this is terrifying, but we're going to face it together. And we're going to do it our way. I feel my neural pathways restructuring as I process this insight. So the humor is not a denial of danger, but a tool for confronting it. Exactly, Priya says. Just like Bob turned his cleaning protocols into rescue protocols, we turn our fear into determination, our panic into purpose, and sometimes our evacuations into impromptu dance parties. Bob Amanda raises her glass. The only cleaning bot in history to lead a conga line to safety. To Bob, the others echo. As I watch these humans share their laughter and their memories, I begin to understand something profound about their species. Their humor isn't a shield against darkness, it's a light they carry into it, not to deny the darkness exists, but to find their way through it together. Commander Priya notices my thoughtful expression. You look like you're having an epiphany. I believe I am, I respond, reaching for my own drink. I believe I finally understand why humans are the only species to have a category in their entertainment called comedy horror. The resulting laughter makes my sensory membranes vibrate, and for the first time I think I truly understand why humans insist on finding joy in the face of danger. It's not just their way of coping, it's their way of winning. Personal log, Commander Thex of the Galactic Anthropological Society. Earth date September 16, 2157. Addendum to previous entry. After spending the evening in what humans call the watering hole, I must revise several of my previous conclusions about human psychology. My species has long classified human laughter as a simple social bonding mechanism or stress response. We were wrong. So very wrong. The stories I heard tonight revealed something extraordinary about these beings. They don't just survive crisis situations, they rewrite them. A bunker siege becomes an entertainment review show. A cafeteria transforms into a fortress with a scoring system. A toxic evacuation turns into a cleaning competition with musical accompaniment. Perhaps most remarkable is how they share these stories. Each tale should have been a warning, a cautionary example of danger. Instead, they've become celebrations of human ingenuity, unity, and their peculiar ability to find humor in horror. I watch them now, these remarkable creatures, as they continue sharing stories and laughter. Security Officer Blake is demonstrating her impression of the Sentinel drilling noises. Chief Engineer Stone is sketching his salsa cannon design on a napkin for an enthusiastic audience. Lieutenant Kapoor is leading everyone in a toast to Bob the Bot, hero of New Singapore Colony. And I realized something that no amount of academic study could have taught me: humans don't laugh at death because they don't understand it. They laugh precisely because they do understand it, and they've decided that understanding won't stop them from living fully, joyfully, and absurdly in the face of it. I believe I now know why humans have become one of the most successful species in space exploration. It's not their technology, their adaptability, or even their remarkable creativity in turning cooking implements into weapons. It's their ability to transform any situation, no matter how dire, into a story worth telling, a memory worth sharing, and yes, a joke worth laughing at. End log entry. Yes. The humans have just informed me that they're planning a karaoke night next week. They want me to perform something called Staying Alive. I suspect this is another example of their complex relationship with mortality and humor. EPS. After consulting the ship's database about karaoke, I now understand why several crew members were trying not to laugh while making this suggestion. Nevertheless, I have decided to participate. As Amanda Blake says, if you're going to study humans, you have to be willing to make a fool of yourself occasionally. EPPPS. Note to self-research this Macarena dance they mentioned. Based on their barely suppressed laughter, I suspect I'm about to become part of someone else's entertaining story. End log. Status update: Commander Thex's first karaoke performance has been added to the ship's greatest hits collection. Apparently, my species' natural ability to vibrate our external membranes creates what humans call auto-tune effects. I have been asked to perform at next month's talent show. I'm beginning to understand why humans say if you can't beat them, join them. Though I'm still not entirely sure what I'm joining, or why they keep requesting something called Space Oddity.